If it looks like I'm wearing the same outfit I was wearing in yesterday's video, it's because I filmed them on the same day. Give me a break, I'm traveling this week. Hi everybody, today I'm going to be sharing with you the pros and the cons as I see them of the Scribbles That Matter Bullet Planner after 4 weeks of using it in this last month's Plan As You Go. If you did not follow the Plan As You Go, if you're new to this channel or you just weren't paying attention or whatever the case, I will link the playlist up above so that you can, I don't know if I'm pointing in the right spot, I never know if I'm pointing in the right spot, so that you can go and watch me as I actually use this for an entire 4 weeks. But for right now, I just want to tell you about some of my thoughts on it. I did a video on this earlier when I first got it in, and I will link that as well. I want to refine my thoughts on it now that I've actually used it. My first thought is no, I will not be continuing with this planner. Will I hang on to it on the off chance I want to try it again? Yeah, maybe, and I want to keep the weeks in here that I did plan. I have some definite thoughts, and so I want to give you my pros and my cons. Pro number 1, the size is lovely. This is not the kind of size that I would use to throw in my purse or to take with me all over the place, but in terms of more like space compared to like an A5 size bullet journal from Scribbles That Matter, the size is really nice. The flip side of that, one of the cons, is that there is not enough creative space in this planner. I used one page for my Rando Doodles challenge. I love how it came out on that one page, but there's only 12 individual pages of creative space in this planner. If I was going to use this for the entire year and I was going to use one of those pages for a challenge, I would only have room for 12 actual challenges, whether one a month. If I did 2 a month, I'd only be able to do it for 6 months. Like, that's not enough space for me at all. Like, hard con. Like, I would never be able to use this planner for an entire year and have it be the only book I used. I would have to have another book to be able to incorporate swatches, to be able to incorporate challenges, to be able to incorporate brainstorming. There's just not enough blank space in this planner. It's one of the biggest drawbacks of it to me. And honestly, for a planner that has this many pages, I would be happy if it was a 6-month planner and they had everything that's in here now and just took out half of the year and replaced it with blank pages. Be worlds better. I'd be much more inclined to consider using this for a lot longer if there was more blank space. But there's not. Another pro, the monthly spread. Holy shit, I love the monthly spread. I'm not incorporating it this month in my bullet journal because of all the travel. It's better for me to do the way I was doing it before. But in June, I may very well go back to sort of the style of it. When it comes to how they list the dates with the space on either side of it, I love it. I think it is so cool and so interesting, especially if you want to divide your life up between work and personal. Or for me, I was doing work and church and just stuck personal wherever there was space. I just really liked it, and I want to do that again at some point. I'm just not going to do it right now, but I love that. I also love that the habit tracker was already drawn in for you. I love that there was plenty of room for plenty of habits and you didn't have to skimp on your habits. I love that there was room for the month's tasks. I didn't really use the section on here to like recap how your month went and like the end of the month in review. I didn't really use that. I probably could have used that for something else, but I do love that there's room for a task list and a habit tracker. The monthly spread overall is efficient. It's vague enough for you to interpret it how you want to, but has enough structure so that you can really use it in a way that is helpful while still having a chance to be creative. Con though, and something I discovered as I went on, the section I thought I was going to love but wound up fucking hating because it felt too restrictive. The timed monthly spread, I wound up coming to a place where I was kind of okay with it, where I used it sort of Erin Condren hourly style. I covered the hours up, I covered a bunch of shit up, and I made it work for me. But I had to go to a lot of goddamn effort to make it work for me, and that was very frustrating. I love having the 24 hours on there. I think that that's something a lot more hourly planners should consider doing. But the caveat to that is that because there's 24 hours on there, there isn't enough space. I would have liked if it just filled up the whole page and they gave you a little bit more room, like half-hour slots or something. That would have been nice. But then again, when I was using it this last month, I needed the space around that hourly spread to have room for my 2 challenges. And that goes back to the lack of creative space. I feel like, again, if they had made more room for creative space, they could have made that time tracker calendar a lot bigger, giving you more space so you don't have to write so tiny. Like, it just felt really cramped, and there was all that empty space, which I wound up having to use for something else. But I would rather it was less cramped and given more room and had more creative space elsewhere in the book. And then, to flip things around, the section that I thought I was going to hate the most was the weekly, or they call it the dailies, where there is the boxes for each day, Monday through Friday, and then some extra space. Honestly, I thought I was going to hate this, but this is the area where I was able to feel the most at home, as if I was in my regular bullet journal. Still, not enough creative space. I feel like maybe the way it's shaped, it just doesn't work the way my brain feels. And I think maybe if I had worked with this for longer, maybe I could have come up with some ways to utilize it better, even though I came to a place where I was kind of happy with how I was utilizing it. It's not restrictive, but yet it's too restrictive, if that makes sense. I also really dislike that there's no Saturday and Sunday boxes. I wound up using one as a weekend box and the rest as a to-do list, but honestly, I really dislike when planners treat Monday through Friday as the official week and don't realize that people's weekends either have a lot of shit or maybe they work on them. That bugs. I found it a lot easier to use than the timed weekly spread, which was the one I thought I would like. So yeah, like, I kind of have my brain fucked with that one. Overall, my issue with this planner boils down to something I said at the beginning of this video. There's not enough creative space. I think that this is an excellent starter for somebody who is afraid to bullet journal. You've never done it before. You see what everybody does on the internet. You don't even know where to begin. I feel like this could be a way to kind of ease yourself into the idea of it without actually picking up a blank notebook and starting from scratch. Honestly, even in that case though, I'm not sure if somebody would use this entire book for a year. I feel like one of the biggest cons of this planner is that it is a full year. If it was same size, 6 months, more blank pages, I would have liked it better. If it was 6 months, maybe not as many blank, like maybe not the full size, like 6 months in a smaller thickness, but still more blank pages, I think I would have liked it better. I feel like it is unrealistic to expect this book to be sufficient for an entire year unless you have no interest in doing any creative extras and you're just planning daily and weekly, which some people are. I get that. I do get that. But for me, planning and creativity are at an intersection. This book is not sufficient for my needs. Ultimately, that is the final kind of outcome for me, is that it's not enough. There's not enough space and there's too much of other things. I would much prefer a different balance, but maybe that's why it's just not my style. I will say though, overall, like I said in the original video, the paper is fantastic. I love the grid on it. The quality is great. There's like, after a month, there's no signs of wear and tear. It's damn near as good as new. It lies flat. You know, I wasn't having any trouble with bleed through. The actual functionality of it is just fine. It's just the way it's set up it's not for me. It may be for you, but I've laid out kind of my pros and cons of this thing, the things I like about it, the things I don't like about it, and I hope you are able to sort of understand where I'm at when it comes to why I don't think I'm going to use that anymore. I feel like if you've been watching the plan as you go, most of this is probably redundant for you, but I figured I would collect all of these thoughts into one place where it's not just a first impressions flip through like I do on other planners because I don't have time. I made the time to use this one for a month and I know it's not for me, and so I feel really educated with the opinion I'm giving you right now. I've said this in a video recently, but I'll ask it again. Let me know what planners you'd like me to take a look at. I can't promise to use them for 4 weeks before I actually give you opinions on them, but I can at least give you my thoughts when I look at it as somebody who has used multiple planners. I do have a Charmed Life Master Planner I'm going to be taking a look at sometime this month. I'm hoping to get my hands on the new Erin Condren Life Planner soon because that's likely going to be the one I use next year. And I also am going to be looking into getting a passion planner because that has been on many people's lists for me to take a look at. If there's something besides those that you would like me to check out, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.